Here we are, on the edge of mystery. We long for a life of new discovery. Focus our eyes on the journey, stepping into the unknown, waving goodbye to our worry, and we're ready to go. We're up, we're not ever slowing down. We're up, we're chasing down the dreams we found, over the rivers and mountains, deep in the heart of the sea. We know adventure's calling, so we run wild and free. Wild and free. Wild and free. Here we go. Dive into the
Hello and welcome to my channel, Designer of Learning. My name is Grace and I am a fourth year second grade teacher. I am so excited to catch you up on all the things that have been happening in my teaching world. The first bit of exciting news that I have to share is that I have been named District Teacher of the Year for the school district in which I serve. This was such an unexpected honor and recognition, and I am still in shock that it's happened. The most meaningful part of this experience has been the kind messages and notes and flowers that I have received from my colleagues and my administration and my current and former students. One of the most meaningful things that has happened is the fourth grade teachers in my building coordinated having all the fourth graders write me sweet messages and kind notes. And then they came down the hallway with an orchid for me. And I was just so overwhelmed and surprised. And I began crying as each of the students congratulated me and gave me a hug. I just felt so wrapped in love. The work that we do as educators is work that is completely built around relationships. I believe that teachers teach best when we form those strong relational bonds with our students in which they know that we are their champions and cheerleaders for their success. And so to see my former students still feel that the work that I have done is impactful on their lives really means so much to me. And I just tear up rereading the notes that they gave me, and I will treasure that gift forever. That is truly what fills my heart and makes me most happy to be a teacher, is knowing I have made an impact in a positive way in a student's life. And for me, that is so deeply personal because I was a student who struggled and who had kind of given up on myself. School was so hard and it was made more difficult by learning challenges that I had. And I honestly felt like school was not for me. It was not a place where I was succeeding and I didn't see a bright future ahead. But because of caring adults, they were able to champion me and believe in me and call out the best in me in ways that I could have never done for myself. And so now to be in the position as an educator, I get to be the person who's championing and calling out the very best in my students. And so to be named District Teacher of the Year feels like it's more of an honor that I get to share with the world, to say, your story may be hard now, but it is not over yet. You have so much life and potential and worth. Keep going, keep growing. And so I feel really honored to be able to carry that message with me as I carry this honor with me as well. And so thank you for celebrating with me and for also championing other students in the worlds in which you make a difference. Thank you for the work that you do as a teacher. You are changing the world one student at a time. Well, that is my personal exciting news, but what has been making my classroom come alive in these last couple of weeks of school is beginning to celebrate our ABC countdown to summer. If you've never heard of this before, what this is we celebrate the last 26 days of school by correlating each day to a letter of the alphabet. And we begin with A and then go to B and then C and so on and so forth. Within my classroom, we do this by giving each of my students a calendar, and it's an overview of all of the days that we'll be celebrating. This calendar helps create excitement and anticipation for the days and weeks ahead, but it also helps parents plan because some of the days involve students bringing things from home, and I want them to feel as prepared for that as possible. So for example, for A Day, each of my students got to bring a stuffed animal to school, and then they got to write about why that animal was meaningful to them. This was so much fun because each of my students had really great reasons for bringing the stuffed animal that they chose. For example, one of my students had had his stuffed animal since he was a little bitty baby, and his mom had taken those monthly growth pictures with him holding that stuffed animal. And so he said that stuffed animal has been with him for 8 years, and it's been really meaningful because he's been able to track his growth for the last 8 years by holding that stuffed animal. Another one of my students had a much more touching story. In her case, she brought her stuffed animal because her mom bought it for her the day her grandfather passed away because of COVID. And so for that student, this stuffed animal is a daily reminder that her grandfather loves her and that the memories he shared with her are so valid and important and special. And so she says every time she hugs her stuffed animal, she thinks about her grandfather. So it was really amazing to see my students share silly stories, meaningful stories, heartfelt stories about their stuffed animal. And the way that my students are able to share these is that I give each of my students a packet that I created. And each of these packets have 26 activity pages that correlate to our 26-day countdown. So for Animal Day, they brought their stuffed animal and then they wrote about it in their packet. And then for B Day, each of my students got to have bubbles outside, and then we did a skip counting activity in which there were bubbles on a page, but there were some bubbles with numbers and some that were missing. And so they had to spot what is the skip counting pattern and write them in. Then for C Day, my students got to wear crazy socks. And then they got to do an activity in which they had to find the pairs of socks that matched, and then they colored them the exact same way so they could show that they were a pair that went together. For D-Day, my students got to see a doodle on a piece of paper, and there was already a doodle on the page, and it was their job to turn that doodle into a complete picture. So some of my students turned that doodle into a dragon. Some of my other students turned it into a water slide. One of my students turned the doodle into me. And it was just really fun to see that no two doodles ended up being the same, and how creative my students were in using their imaginations to turn that doodle on a page into a masterpiece. So the ABC Countdown to Summer has always been a big hit in my classroom, and they really enjoy the fact that I have slideshows that help remind them what each day is, that we have those calendars that help keep parents aware of what's coming next, and then to have the activity packet makes each day an exciting and new adventure and discovery. And my students are so into it. They walk in the morning, they're like, Miss Mac, when are we going to do our packet? What is it going to be for today? I can't wait to see. And I think that's so fun because it's like that feeling of Christmas, but getting to do it 26 days in a row where they have something to anticipate and look forward to. They don't know what it will be exactly, but they know it will be good. And I hear my kids even speculating like, what are we going to get on New Thing Day? And it's just really fun for them to feel like we're treasuring and savoring the last days of school. If you are interested in doing an ABC Countdown to Summer in your classrooms, I've tried to make it as easy as possible by creating a whole bundle for you to use. And so if you click the link in the description, you'll see my ABC Countdown to Summer slides are there, the calendar is there, as well as my activity packet. And I hope that if you choose to buy this for your classroom, that your students delight in it as much as mine have. It is always a big hit. And when I have students who have siblings later come into my classroom, they really have fun telling them like, oh, you're going to have fun the last couple of days of school. And that makes me really happy that they have such positive memories of the last days of second grade. The next fun thing that I have to share with you is our students got to go on a field trip Because of COVID, these students have not been able to go on a field trip the last 2 years, and this is their first time to ever go on a field trip. And so there was so much excitement and anticipation for our zoo visit, and it was really exciting to see them the day of just beaming from ear to ear by being able to be with their classmates, experiencing this fun adventure. And I wanted my students to really enjoy their time at the zoo, and I wanted them to also feel like it was an adventure to spot how many animals they could find. And so I created a zoo scavenger hunt, and this was given to all the second grade classes within my school. And it was really fun for the students to all be working with their groups and their chaperones to look to see, can we find a lion? Can we find a parrot? And I loved hearing those conversations happening everywhere I went. And at the end of the zoo day, it was really fun for them to say, like, I got this animal and I found this animal. And so I think the scavenger hunt helped make their experience feel like a game, and they were having a little bit of purpose in their visit. And I know that for parents, it was really fun for them to have a tangible kind of activity to keep their groups moving forward. And so that scavenger hunt will also be available in my TBT store, and I will link it down below. Well, I am so excited. We have 3 more weeks of school left, and my students and I are really trying to savor every last moment we have together. I can honestly say that I will so miss this group of students. I feel like we have had such an incredible year. We have bonded. I love their sweet personalities. I love their joy. I love their enthusiasm. I love to see their growth, their endurance. It's really sweet because my students learn a saying in our school that says, never say I can't, always say I'll try. And I have seen my students try over and over and over again, and they have done hard things, and they've done it with joy, and they've done it with gratitude. And I am so grateful to have called this group of kiddos my students. And I'm getting a little bit emotional at the thought of letting them go on to 3rd grade and for them to do great things in a new school year. But I have been really, really blessed to call these students my very own for a whole school year. And so I hope that if you're a teacher, you can enjoy the chaos and the enthusiasm and excitement in a life that is the last couple of days of school. And may you make sweet memories with your students that you can savor and that they will savor for a lifetime. Thank you for the work you do, and thank you for listening to my ideas and my stories and my excitement. I am so grateful for each and every one of you who take the time to see what's going on in my classroom. You are loved and you matter to me. Bye.